The alarm screamed through the Zephyrian Council station like a dying animal. Ambassador Crixval's 4 eyes went wide as he stared at the red warning lights flashing across his control panel. His hands shook as he read the message that appeared on his screen. Unknown vessel detected. Energy signature matches restricted archive files. Possible Terran origin. Crixval felt his blood turn cold. In 300 years of peace, no one had ever seen those words appear on a real scanner. The Terran files were myths, stories, warnings passed down from the ancient precursor race to keep young civilizations from getting too bold. But the scanner did not lie. He pressed his communication button with a trembling finger. Emergency Council meeting, code black. All members report immediately. Across the galaxy, Captain Jake Murphy stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant and smiled. After 18 months of traveling through empty space, they had finally found something interesting. The star system ahead showed signs of advanced technology. Radio signals, energy patterns, maybe even intelligent life. "Lisa, how long until we reach the system?" Jake asked his navigator. Lisa Park looked up from her charts. Her dark hair was tied back in a simple ponytail, and her eyes sparkled with excitement. "About 6 hours, Captain. The signals are getting stronger." "Any luck figuring out what they're saying, Amy?" Jake turned to his communications officer. Amy Walsh shook her head. "The patterns are too complex, but they're definitely artificial. Someone built whatever is sending these signals." Ben Carter, the chief engineer, wiped grease from his hands with a dirty rag. "The ship is running perfectly, Captain. All systems green. We're ready for anything." Ryan Torres, head of security, nodded from his station. "Weapons are powered down, shields are ready. Standard first contact protocol." Jake felt proud of his crew. They had traveled farther from Earth than any humans before them. They were about to make history. "Dr. Rodriguez, are you ready to meet some aliens?" Elena Rodriguez looked up from her research station. Ancient star charts covered her desk. "More than ready, Captain. These coordinates match symbols we found in the Europa ruins. This might be where those ancient visitors came from. None of them knew that their ship was being tracked by sensors across half the galaxy. None of them understood that their peaceful mission was causing panic in the halls of power." On the council station, 12 different alien species gathered in the emergency meeting room. Some walked on legs, others floated, and a few crawled, on tentacles. But they all shared the same expression of terror. Crixval stood at the center of the room. His voice was steady, but his hands still shook. "The scanner readings are confirmed. A ship matching Terran design is approaching the Kepler system. Estimated arrival in 6 hours." Commander Thess Nora, leader of the Confederation military, slammed her fist on the table. "Impossible. The Terrans are myths, stories to frighten children." "I wish that were true," said Elder Zax Quinn, oldest member of the council. His ancient voice carried the weight of centuries. "But I have seen the archive files. I have read the precursor warnings. If this is real, we are all in terrible danger." A younger council member, Yithmora, laughed nervously. "You cannot be serious. These humans are supposed to be monsters. From a tiny planet. They probably barely have spaceflight." Elder Zax Quinn's eyes turned dark. "The archives say they come from a death world, a planet so dangerous that just surviving there makes them into weapons. They hunt animals by running them to death. They turn other predators into pets. They fight wars that last for years and never give up." "That sounds like propaganda," Yithmora said. "The precursors never lied," Elder Zax Quinn replied. "They wrote that humans do not understand surrender. When they are hurt, they become more dangerous. When they are outnumbered, they fight harder. When they should run, they attack instead." Commander Thess Nora studied the tactical display. "One ship. Even if these warnings are true, how dangerous can one ship be?" Elder Zax Quinn was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke in a whisper that made everyone lean forward. "The archives say that humans bond with each other like pack animals. They will die for strangers. They will fight impossible battles to save people they have never met. And they never ever stop learning. Aboard the Defiant, Jake Murphy had no idea that 12 alien warships were being prepared to stop him. He watched the stars and thought about the future. Humanity was finally reaching out to the galaxy. They would share their knowledge, their art, their dreams of peace. Amy Walsh suddenly looked up from her station. "Captain, I'm getting something. Multiple ships moving fast. They're heading right for us." "Friendly?" Jake asked. Amy frowned at her readings. "I don't know. They're not answering our friendship signals. But they're moving into attack formation." Ryan Torres checked his weapons. "Should I power up our defenses?" Jake thought for a moment. First contact was always dangerous. Maybe these aliens were just being careful. Keep weapons offline. Raise shields to half power. Let's show them we come in peace. Ben Carter watched his engine readings. "Captain, those ships are big. Really big. Our little exploration vessel won't last long if they want to fight." "They don't want to fight," Jake said firmly. "They just don't know us yet." Back on the council station, Crix Val watched the fleet approach the human ship. He felt sick. This was wrong. The humans were broadcasting friendship messages in mathematical patterns. They were following proper first contact rules. But the fleet had orders. Test the humans. See if the warnings were true. Find out if these creatures really were as dangerous as the ancient files claimed. Commander Thess Nora's voice came over the communication system. "Beginning approach. Human vessel appears to be a standard exploration ship. Light weapons. Basic. Shields. This should be over quickly." Crix Val wanted to call off the attack, but the council had voted. If the humans were really as dangerous as the archives claimed, they needed to know now, before these creatures could spread across the galaxy like a plague. On the Defiant, Lisa Park watched the alien ships get closer. "They're beautiful," she said softly. "Look at those designs like art flying through space." Elena Rodriguez was recording everything. First contact with alien life. This is the most important moment in human history. Jake Murphy stood tall on his bridge. His crew trusted him to keep them safe. His species trusted him to represent them well. He would not let anyone down. "Open all communication channels," he ordered. "Broadcast our message on every frequency. Let them know we come as friends." Amy Walsh nodded and sent the signal. Mathematical sequences that showed peaceful intent. Star charts that proved they came from far away. Music that demonstrated the beauty of human art. The alien fleet did not respond with friendship. They responded with weapons fire. The galaxy was about to learn that some legends are true. The first energy blast hit the Defiant's shields like a hammer blow. The entire ship shook and warning lights flashed red across every control panel. Jake Murphy grabbed his command chair to keep from falling. "What was that?" he shouted over the noise. Amy Walsh's fingers flew over her communication controls. "They fired on us. That was a warning shot, but it could have killed us." Commander Thess Nora watched from her flagship as the human vessel absorbed the blast. According to the archives, humans would either surrender immediately or fight to the death. There was no middle ground with these creatures. She opened a channel to her fleet. "Target acquired. Humans have seen our power. They will surrender now or we will destroy them." But Jake Murphy did not surrender. Instead, he turned to his crew with calm determination. "Battle stations. This is not how I wanted. First contact to go, but we need to defend ourselves." Ryan Torres activated the ship's weapons. "Shields are at 60% from that one shot. Their weapons are stronger than ours." Ben Carter was already running toward the engine room. "I can give us more power, but it will be dangerous. The quantum core was not built for combat." Jake ordered. "Lisa, get us out of their targeting range. Use everything you know about evasive flying." Lisa Park's hands moved over her controls like she was playing a piano. The Defiant began to dance through space, spinning and diving in patterns that should have been impossible for such a large ship. On the alien flagship, Thess Nora stared at her tactical display in confusion. "How are they moving like that? Their ship is too big for those maneuvers." Her weapons officer, Kestva, shook his head. They should not be able to do that. Our computer says those flight patterns will tear their ship apart. But they are not tearing apart, Thesnora said quietly. They are adapting. The word adapting sent chills through the bridge crew. The archives had used that word many times. Humans adapt. Humans learn. Humans turn every disadvantage into a weapon. Amy Walsh was working furiously at her station. The alien ships were using complex communication codes, but she was starting to understand the patterns. Humans had always been good at learning languages quickly. "Captain," she called out, "I think I'm breaking their communication system. They're not scrambling their signals properly." Jake smiled grimly. "Good work. Can you jam their coordination?" "Give me 5 more minutes." Elena Rodriguez left her research station and ran to help Ben Carter in the engine room. She was not an engineer, but she had studied alien technology in the Europa ruins. Maybe some of that knowledge would help. Down in the engine core, Ben Carter was pushing their systems beyond safe limits. The quantum reactor was glowing brighter than it ever had before. Sparks flew from control panels as he rerouted power through backup systems. "This is crazy," he muttered to himself. But crazy might be what we need. Elena arrived and immediately started helping. The Europa ruins had similar energy patterns. Maybe we can use some of their techniques. Together they began modifying their ship's power systems using principles that were thousands of years old but still worked. Back on the bridge, Ryan Torres was studying the enemy fleet. 12 ships against 1. Bigger weapons, stronger shields, more experience. By every logical measure, the Defiant should already be destroyed, but humans did not always follow logic. "Captain," Ryan said, "their ships are designed for formation fighting. They depend on working together. If we can break their coordination, do it," Jake said. "Amy, are you ready to disrupt their communications?" Amy Walsh smiled. "More than ready. Sending interference pattern now." Across the alien fleet, communication screens filled with static. Ship commanders found themselves cut off from their flagship. Weapon targeting systems began giving conflicting information. Thesnora felt fear creeping into her hearts. How are they doing this? Their technology should be primitive compared to ours. But her science officer had been studying the human ship. "Commander, they are not using primitive technology. They are using our technology. Somehow they are learning our systems and turning them against us." The archives had warned about this too. Humans were integration specialists. They could take any technology and make it work for them. Give a human a broken machine and within hours they would have it running better than before. On the Defiant, Ben Carter and Elena Rodriguez had done the impossible. They had boosted their shields to full power and given their weapons a 20% increase in strength. The ship was running on modifications that should not have worked. "Power levels are stable," Ben reported to the bridge. "But I don't know how long this will last." Jake Murphy looked at his crew. They were scared but determined. They had come out here to explore, to learn, to make friends. Instead, they were fighting for their lives against unknown enemies, but they were still human. And humans did not give up. "Lisa, I need you to get us close to their lead ship. Ryan, prepare everything we have. Amy, keep jamming their communications. We're going to show them what human ingenuity looks like." The Defiant suddenly accelerated toward the alien flagship. Lisa Park was flying like her life depended on it. Because it did. She spun the ship through weapons fire, dove under attack, formations, and somehow kept them alive in a battle they should never have survived. Thesnora watched in horror as the small human ship charged directly at her massive vessel. They are insane. They cannot possibly think they can win. But that was exactly what Jake Murphy was thinking, not because he believed they were stronger, but because giving up was not an option. His crew was counting on him. His species was counting on him. Somewhere out there, Earth was waiting to hear if humanity had friends among the stars. He would not let them down. "Fire everything," Jake ordered. The Defiant's weapons, boosted by alien technology and human determination, struck the flagship's shields. The energy blast was not enough to destroy the massive ship, but it was enough to prove a point. Humans do not surrender. Humans adapt. Humans fight back. Across the alien fleet, crews stared at their displays in shock. The small human ship had just damaged their most powerful vessel, with inferior weapons, while outnumbered 12-1. Thesnora's hands were shaking as she gave the order that would change galactic history. All ships, retreat. Fall back to safe distance. For the first time in 300 years, a Confederation fleet was running from a single ship. The archives had been right. The warnings had been true. The humans were everything the precursors had said they were, and that terrified everyone. News of the battle spread through Confederation space faster than light itself. On 1,000 worlds, alien beings gathered around communication screens to hear the impossible story. A single human ship had fought 12 Confederation vessels and forced them to retreat. The reaction was immediate and terrifying. Panic buying emptied stores. Emergency meetings were called on every civilized planet. Some species began preparing their defense fleets. Others started packing their most valuable possessions for evacuation. The Death World warriors had returned. On the council station, Crix Val sat in his private office staring at reports that made no sense. The human ship had not pursued the retreating fleet. Instead, it had stopped and resumed broadcasting friendship messages. The same mathematical patterns, the same peaceful music, the same requests for communication. They fought like demons and then went back to asking for friends, he muttered to himself. What kind of creatures are these? Meanwhile, aboard the Defiant, Dr. Elena Rodriguez was making discoveries that would change everything. The damaged, alien technology they had captured during the battle contained data files, thousands of them, and they were all about humanity. She called the senior staff to the meeting room and activated the holographic display. Images filled the air around them. Pictures of Earth taken from space, maps of human cities, detailed studies of human biology and behavior. They know everything about us, Elena said quietly. Our history, our wars, our achievements. They have been watching Earth for a very long time. Jake Murphy stared at a picture of New York City taken from orbit. How is that possible? We never detected any alien ships near Earth. Amy Walsh was reading through communication files. These records go back hundreds of years, but Captain, look at this. They call these files archive warnings. They are not scientific studies. They are warnings. She activated one of the files, and an alien voice filled the room. The translation software made it sound mechanical, but the fear in the speaker's tone was clear. Entry 2047. Species designation, Terran human. Origin, third planet, Sol system. Threat level, extreme. Do not approach, do not contact, do not underestimate. Ryan Torres leaned forward. Threat level extreme? We are explorers, not warriors. The file continued. Terrans show pack bonding behavior that exceeds all known social species. Individual specimens will sacrifice themselves for strangers without hesitation. Groups will fight impossible odds to protect single members. No known surrender response. Ben Carter shook his head. They think we are monsters. Elena activated another file. This one was older and the voice sounded even more frightened. Personal report by Scout Commander Velkoth. I observed Terran military exercises from long range. Their soldiers train for scenarios where retreat is not possible. They practice fighting while injured. They study how to turn their own deaths into weapons against enemies. Lisa Park looked pale. That makes us sound horrible. But Elena was reading deeper into the files. Wait, there is more. Listen to this. A new voice spoke, older and more thoughtful. Long-term observation report. Terrans demonstrate unprecedented ability to adapt foreign technology. Captured equipment is reverse-engineered within days. Enemy weapons are improved and used against their original creators. Recommend avoiding any technology exchange. Jake Murphy was beginning to understand. They are not just afraid of our weapons. They are afraid of our minds. Elena nodded and activated the most detailed file. This one is marked as a precursor, Legacy Archive. It is very old. The voice that spoke was different from the others, calmer but filled with deep respect. The Terrans are persistence hunters. Their ancestors chased prey animals across vast distances until the animals collapsed from exhaustion. This behavior has shaped their entire psychology. They do not understand giving up. When faced with impossible odds, they adapt their tactics and continue fighting. Amy Walsh found herself thinking about their recent battle. That is exactly what we did. When their weapons were too strong, Ben made our systems stronger. When they jammed our communications, I learned their codes. The precursor voice continued. Terrans form emotional bonds with other species. They will risk their lives to save beings they have never met. They domesticated predator animals and turned them into protective companions. They are capable of extreme violence, but only in defense of others. Ben Carter was quiet for a long moment. They are not afraid we will conquer them. They are afraid we will try to save them. Elena activated the final file. This one was marked with symbols that meant highest security. The Terrans represent an evolutionary path that no other known species has taken. They combine predator instincts with social cooperation, individual strength with pack loyalty, aggressive capability with protective motivation. They are what every species fears becoming, and what every species wishes they could be. The recording paused, and when it resumed, the precursor voice sounded almost sad. We have decided to isolate the Terran homeworld, not to protect the galaxy from them, but to protect them from a galaxy that is not ready for their intensity. They will find us when they are ready. And when they do, everything will change. The meeting room was silent. Jake Murphy looked at his crew, seeing them with new eyes. They were ordinary people. Scientists, engineers, pilots. They had never thought of themselves as warriors or monsters, but during the battle, they had done exactly what the archives described. They had refused to surrender. They had adapted enemy technology. They had fought impossible odds to protect each other. Elena was studying the star charts that had led them here. These coordinates, the ones we found in the Europa ruins, I think they were left by the precursors. They wanted us to find this place. Why? Lisa asked. Because something has changed, Elena said slowly. Look at the dates on these files. The newest ones are 300 years old. The Confederation has been living in fear of us for centuries, but they have not seen any humans in all that time. Jake, Murphy was beginning to understand. They think we are myths, stories their ancestors told to scare them, but we are real. Amy Walsh was reading through communication intercepts from the Confederation fleet. Captain, they are terrified. Their commanders are calling emergency meetings. Some species want to mobilize their entire military against us. Ryan Torres checked his tactical displays. One ship, and we have half the galaxy ready to go to war. That is either very flattering or very troubling. Ben Carter was studying the technical files. Look at this. Their weapons technology has not improved much in 300 years. Their ships are bigger than ours, but not necessarily better. They have been building for peace, not war. Jake Murphy made a decision that would echo through history. We are going to prove the archives wrong. We are not monsters. We are explorers. We came here to make friends, and that is what we are going to do. Elena looked worried. Captain, they have been afraid of us for centuries. Fear like that does not disappear easily. Then we will have to show them something they have never seen before, Jake said. Humans who choose peace. But even as he spoke those words, another alert was coming through the communication system. A distress signal from a civilian station under attack. The kind of emergency that demanded immediate response. The kind of situation where humans always chose to help, regardless of the danger. Jake Murphy looked at his crew and saw the same thought in every face. They could not ignore a call for help, even if it was a trap, even if it proved everything the archives said about them, because that was what humans did. And the galaxy was about to learn that some legends are not meant to be feared, they are meant to be hoped for. The emergency meeting of the Confederation Council was unlike anything in recorded history. Representatives from dozens of species argued loudly, while others sat in stunned silence. the chamber filled with the sounds of fear in 100 different languages. Elder Zax Quinn stood at the center of the chaos, his ancient voice cutting through the noise. The humans have proven everything the archives warned us about. They refuse to surrender. They adapt our technology. They fight when they should flee. Then we must destroy them, shouted Council Member Yithmora. Before they multiply, before they spread across the galaxy like a plague. But Crixval stood up, his forearms gesturing for attention. Wait. Did anyone read the full archive files? The humans did not pursue our fleet. They did not try to capture our ships. After they won the battle, they went back to sending friendship messages. Commander Thesnora entered the chamber, her uniform still showing damage from the battle. The human behavior makes no sense. By every military doctrine, they should have pressed their advantage. Instead, they stopped fighting the moment we retreated. Because they are not conquerors, Elder Zax Quinn said quietly. The archives were clear about this. Humans only fight to protect others. They have no interest in ruling the galaxy. Yithmora laughed bitterly. And you believe that? They are predators from a death world. Violence is their nature. Commander Thesnora was thinking about something else. She had spent her entire career studying military tactics and enemy behavior. The human response pattern was bothering her. I want to test them, she announced. The chamber fell silent. All eyes turned to the fleet commander. Test them how? Crixval asked. Thesnora activated a holographic display showing the nearby star systems. Mining station Kepler-7, it has a small civilian population. We stage a pirate attack. Make it look real. Then we see how the humans respond. Elder Zax Quinn shook his head. That is cruel. Those are innocent beings. No one will actually be hurt, Thesnora explained. We use training weapons. Create the appearance of danger without real risk. If the humans are truly peaceful, they will try to negotiate. If they are the warriors the archives describe. She did not need to finish the sentence. Everyone understood. The vote was close, but fear won over wisdom. The test was approved. Aboard the Defiant, Jake Murphy was trying to understand the alien technology they had captured. The files about humanity were disturbing, but they also contained technical information that could help them repair their ship. Ben Carter was in the engine room working with Elena Rodriguez to integrate some of the alien systems. This is incredible technology, he said. Their power systems are completely different from ours, but somehow they work together. Elena nodded. It is like they were designed to be compatible, almost as if someone planned for humans to eventually use this equipment. Amy Walsh's voice came over the communication system. Captain, we are receiving a distress signal. Mining station requesting immediate assistance. They are under attack. Jake Murphy did not hesitate. He ran to the bridge, where his crew was already preparing for action. The tactical display showed a civilian station surrounded by what appeared to be pirate ships. How many civilians? Jake asked. Lisa Park was scanning the station. About 200. Families, children, workers. The attack ships are moving in. Fast, Ryan Torres was studying the enemy formation. Standard pirate tactics. They want to capture the station, not destroy it, but they will kill anyone who resists. Jake looked at his crew. They had just learned that the galaxy saw them as dangerous monsters. Going to help would probably confirm every fear the aliens had about humans. But there were children on that station. Set course for Kepler-7, Jake ordered. Maximum speed. Ben Carter's voice came from the engine room. Captain, our ship is still damaged from the last battle. We are not ready for another fight. Then we will have to be creative, Jake replied. What none of them knew was that Commander Thesnora was watching everything from her hidden observation ship. She had positioned monitoring equipment throughout the system to record the human response. The pirates were actually Confederation military ships using holographic disguises. Their weapons were set to training mode. They would create impressive light shows and minor damage, but could not actually kill anyone. But the humans did not know that. As the Defiant approached the station, Amy Walsh intercepted communications between the pirates and their victims. They are demanding the station surrender all valuable materials. The civilians are terrified. Elena Rodriguez was studying the enemy ships. "Captain, something is wrong. These pirates have military-grade equipment. Their formation is too disciplined. Real pirates do not work together this well." But Jake Murphy was focused on saving lives. "Lisa, get us between the pirates and the station. Ryan, prepare for combat. Amy, try to contact the station's emergency services." The Defiant moved into position just as the pirate ships opened fire on the mining station. Energy blasts struck the station's shields, which began to fail rapidly. Jake Murphy made the choice that would define humanity's reputation forever. "All ships, this is Captain Jake Murphy of the Earth vessel Defiant. Stop your attack immediately, or we will stop it for you." The pirate ships turned toward the small human vessel. 12 ships against 1. The same odds as before, but this time there were civilians at risk. Commander Tess Nora watched from her hidden position as the human ship charged into battle. Incredible. They know they are outnumbered, but they are attacking anyway. The battle that followed was unlike anything the Confederation had ever seen. The humans fought with desperate creativity, using every trick they had learned from the previous encounter. Ben Carter and Elena Rodriguez had modified their weapons to work with alien technology. Ryan Torres coordinated attacks that should have been impossible with their limited firepower. Lisa Park flew the ship like it was part of her own body. But it was Amy Walsh who truly amazed the observers. She hacked into the pirate communication system and began broadcasting messages to the civilians on the station. "This is the human ship Defiant. We are here to help. Gather in the central core. Stay away from the outer sections. We will protect you." The civilians did not know what humans were. They had never heard of Earth. But Amy's voice was calm and reassuring, and they followed her instructions. On the hidden observation ship, Tess Nora's communications officer was staring at his displays in shock. "Commander, the humans are not just fighting the pirates, they are coordinating civilian evacuation at the same time." "That is impossible," Tess Nora said. "No one can manage a space battle and a rescue operation simultaneously." But the humans were doing exactly that. Jake Murphy was giving tactical orders while Amy organized civilian safety protocols. Ryan Torres was targeting enemy weapons while monitoring the station's life support systems. Then something happened that made Tess Nora's blood run cold. Elena Rodriguez left her battle station and ran toward the shuttle bay. "Dr. Rodriguez, where are you going?" Jake called over the communication system. "The station's central core is losing life support," Elena replied as she climbed into a shuttle. "Someone needs to get over there and fix it manually. The children will not survive another hour." "It is too dangerous," Jake said. "The pirates are still fighting." Elena was already launching her shuttle. "Captain, there are kids over there. Human or alien, it does not matter. I cannot let children die." Tess Nora watched in horror as the small human shuttle flew directly through the battle zone toward the damaged station. Energy blasts from both sides filled the space around it, but Elena Rodriguez never slowed down. "She is going to die," Tess Nora whispered. "The shuttle has no shields. One hit will destroy it." But somehow, Elena made it to the station. She docked with the emergency port and ran through corridors filled with smoke and sparks to reach the life support controls. The children she found there were not human. They were small furry creatures with big eyes and tiny hands. They looked nothing like Earth children, but Elena's reaction was immediate and instinctive. "Do not be afraid," she told them gently. "I am here to help." She worked on the life support systems while singing soft songs to keep the children calm. Her hands flew over alien controls that she barely understood, using skills she had learned from studying ancient ruins. On the observation ship, Tess Nora's crew was recording everything. "Commander, the human female is risking her life for alien children she has never met. This confirms everything the archives said about protective behavior." But Tess Nora was beginning to understand something else. The archives had not described monsters. They had described heroes. Elena Rodriguez fixed the life support system and stayed with the children until the battle was over. When the pirates finally retreated, she was found sleeping on the floor, surrounded by small alien children who had decided this strange creature was their new protector. The test was over. The results were undeniable. Humans were exactly what the legends said they were. But the legends had been wrong about one thing. They were not something to fear. They were something to hope for. The revelation that the pirate attack was a test sent shockwaves through both human and alien minds. Jake Murphy sat in his captain's chair, staring at Commander Thesnora's image on the main screen. Behind her, he could see the real Confederation, fleet waiting at a safe distance. "You staged the entire attack," Jake said quietly. "Those children were never really in danger." Thesnora's expression showed something humans had rarely seen from aliens: shame. The weapons were set to training mode. The life support failure was not planned. Dr. Rodriguez was in real danger when she went to help those children. Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge, still covered in dust from the mining station. "You mean I risked my life for a test?" "You risked your life for children who needed help," Amy Walsh said firmly. "That is what matters." Jake Murphy was trying to control his anger. "Why? Why test us like this?" Commander Thesnora was quiet for a long moment. "Because we have been afraid of you for 300 years. The archives painted you as unstoppable warriors who never surrender, never retreat, never show mercy. We needed to know if you were conquerors or protectors. And now you know," Ryan Torres said. "Yes," Thesnora replied. "Now we know." Across the galaxy, the news was spreading. The humans had passed the test. They had proven that their legendary fighting abilities were real, but they only used them to save others. Alien civilizations that had been preparing for war began to reconsider. On the council station, Crix Val was reading reports that changed everything he thought he knew about the universe. The human response to the staged attack had been recorded in perfect detail. Every action, every decision, every sacrifice. They coordinated a space battle and a civilian rescue at the same time, he told the assembled council. Dr. Rodriguez risked her life for alien children she had never seen before. Captain Murphy chose to protect strangers instead of pursuing military victory. Elder Zax Quinn nodded slowly. The archives were right about their capabilities, but we misunderstood their motivations. The debate that followed would reshape galactic politics forever. Some council members still wanted to isolate or eliminate the humans. Others argued for immediate alliance. But it was Crix Val who found the middle path. "The humans are not here to conquer us," he said. "They are here because something has changed. Think about the timing. Why now? Why did they finally leave their homeworld after thousands of years?" Amy Walsh had been wondering the same thing. She was in the Defiance Communications Center, studying long-range sensor data. What she found made her call an emergency meeting. "Captain, we have a problem," she announced when the senior staff gathered. "I have been analyzing background radiation patterns from our long-range sensors. There are energy signatures moving toward this part of the galaxy from outside." Elena Rodriguez brought up the star charts from the Europa ruins. "The coordinates that led us here, they were not just pointing to this location, they were pointing to this time." Ben Carter was running calculations on his engineering displays. "Amy is right. Something big is coming. Multiple objects traveling at faster than light speeds. They will reach Confederation space in less than 6 months." Jake Murphy felt a chill run down his spine. "How big?" "Big enough to sterilize entire star systems," Ben replied quietly. The pieces of the puzzle suddenly came together. Elena Rodriguez stood up, her face pale with understanding. "The precursors did not isolate Earth to protect the galaxy from us. They isolated us to preserve us. They knew something was coming." Lisa Park was studying the trajectory data. "Whatever these things are, they are heading directly for the most populated systems in Confederation space. Millions of beings will die." Jake Murphy made a decision that would echo through galactic history. "Amy, open a channel to Commander Thesnora. It is time for humanity to join the galaxy." The message that followed was broadcast to every world in Confederation space. Captain Jake Murphy stood on his bridge, surrounded by his crew, looking directly into the camera. People of the Confederation, my name is Jake Murphy. I represent the human species from the planet Earth. We came here seeking friendship and knowledge. Instead, we found fear and suspicion. His voice was calm but determined. You have spent centuries afraid of what humans might do to you. Now, you face something that will definitely destroy you. We offer our help. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Communication channels across the galaxy filled with messages of hope, fear, gratitude, and confusion. Humanity was no longer a myth or a legend. They were real, and they were offering to fight for people they had never met. Commander Thesnora's fleet approached the Defiant slowly, broadcasting friendship signals. When her ship docked with the human vessel, she became the first alien to step aboard a human spacecraft. Jake Murphy met her in the docking bay, along with his entire crew. She was tall and graceful, with silver skin and large, intelligent eyes. Her first words to humanity would be remembered forever. "We were wrong about you," she said simply. "The archives called you warriors, but they did not say you were heroes." Elena Rodriguez stepped forward. "We are not heroes. We are just people who cannot stand by when others need help." "That," Thesnora replied, "is exactly what makes you heroes." The alliance that formed over the following days was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human technology merged with Confederation knowledge, human tactics combined with alien strategy, but most importantly, human determination, merged with galactic wisdom. Ben Carter worked with alien engineers to upgrade the Defiant systems. Ryan Torres trained Confederation military units in what he called human-style tactical thinking. Amy Walsh established communication networks that spanned dozens of star systems, but it was Elena Rodriguez who made the most important discovery. Deep in the restricted precursor archives, she found the truth about the approaching threat. "They are called the Devourers," she announced to the Joint Command Center, "an extragalactic species that consumes entire civilizations. They turn planets into resources and leave nothing behind but empty space." Jake Murphy studied the tactical displays showing the approaching enemy. "How many ships?" "Thousands," Elena replied. "Maybe tens of thousands. They have destroyed 17 galaxies over the past million years." Crix Val, who had become humanity's strongest advocate, looked grim. "Our combined fleets number in the hundreds. We are vastly outnumbered." "Numbers do not always win battles," Ryan Torres said quietly. "Sometimes the smaller force wins because they fight differently." Commander Thesnora nodded. "What do you propose?" Jake Murphy looked at his crew, then at his new alien allies. "We do what humans have always done. We adapt. We improvise. We fight for people we care about." The preparation that followed transformed the galaxy. Human innovation merged with alien technology to create weapons and strategies that neither species could have developed alone. Confederation shipyards began producing vessels designed with human tactical principles. But the real change was in how the different species worked together. Humans taught aliens about persistence and creativity. Aliens taught humans about cooperation and patience. Together they became something stronger than either could be alone. When the Devourers finally arrived, they expected to find the same pattern they had seen in 17 previous galaxies. Primitive civilizations fighting alone, easy to defeat and consume. Instead, they found something unprecedented. A united galaxy, led by a species that had turned survival itself into an art form. Humans who refused to surrender, supported by aliens who refused to abandon them. The first battle was fought at the edge of Confederation space. Jake Murphy commanded the joint fleet from the bridge of the Defiant, which had been upgraded with the best technology the galaxy could provide. But the real victory was not won with weapons or tactics. It was won with something the Devourers had never encountered before, beings who would sacrifice everything to protect strangers. When the enemy expected retreat, the Alliance attacked. When they expected fear, They found determination. When they expected defeat, they found species working together with a unity that made them unstoppable. The war lasted 3 years and ended with the Devourers retreating to whatever dark corner of space they had come from. They left behind a galaxy that had been forever changed by the encounter. Years later, Elena Rodriguez stood on the observation deck of the new Joint Research Station orbiting Earth. Through the windows, she could see human and alien children playing together in the station's gardens. Amy Walsh worked beside alien communications specialists building networks that connected distant worlds. Ben Carter taught engineering students from dozens of species how to solve impossible problems. Jake Murphy, now Admiral of the Combined Fleet, walked up beside her. Any regrets about leaving Earth? Elena smiled. Earth was never meant to be our limit. It was meant to be our beginning. Ryan Torres joined them, carrying reports from across the galaxy. The outer colonies are thriving. Trade routes are expanding. The university exchange programs have waiting lists 3 years long. Jake Murphy grinned. More aliens who think we are myths? Something like that, Lisa replied. But these ones are asking for our help with a problem they cannot solve. Elena Rodriguez laughed.